Guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't already know who I am, I'm Jackie O. I'm glad you came, girl. So today I'm going to be talking a lot about undertones. This video has been so highly requested, and I really felt like I needed to cover the topic, not only because it was so highly requested, but undertones will probably play like one of the biggest factors in regards to a multitude of different things. Choosing your makeup selections, choosing your hair colors, like it's just like when you're in this beauty industry, I don't know why that kid is screaming like that. When you are in this industry, it plays a very important role. So I had taken some notes, so if I kind of veer off, don't mind me, I'm just like reading my cue card. So what are undertones? Do you know what undertones are? Have you ever heard of that? Okay, so obviously, as you can see, I am black. Yes, I know you were wondering that if I was black or not, but I'm here to tell you that I am black, in fact. But anyway, so it's possible that me and someone else can both be the same like shade of brown, but we can both have different undertones. And by undertones are basically that underlying pigment underneath. By definition, undertones actually mean a subdued or muted underlying pigment. So if we were to take off the brown, what would be left basically? You want to think of undertones as being like a secondary color in your skin tone. There are cool tones, there are warm undertones, there's neutral, and then some people like to consider this like a separate category in its own, but there's also olive. But olive can kind of be categorized as like a neutral, and I'll explain a little bit later. It's also very important to know that you guys, the tips that I'm sharing and the things that I'm talking about in this video are really to be used kind of like a scale or like a spectrum or a guideline. Like it's not supposed to be like Bible set in stone. It's just things that are there to kind of help people who don't naturally have that eye for color and are not very knowledgeable in color theory and different things like that. So don't take this as, well, I do this, am I not? No. If it looks good, then by all means, please continue doing it, because yeah, I just don't want this to be interpreted as black or white. Nothing, I feel like, in the beauty industry, well, very few things in this industry are black and white, but I wanted to point that out. So how do you find your undertones? How do you know what your own undertones are? So I want to talk about some different characteristics of each like separate category and how like I feel like is the easiest way to find out if you're cool, warm, neutral, olive, or whatever. So women that have warm undertones, like myself, think of us like the summer months, okay? Think of like fire colors, think of gold underneath that skin, think of like the yellow, that warmth. Someone who has cooler undertones would be a little bit more pinkier underneath, almost kind of like violet or gray. I noticed that women who have warm undertones, women or men that have warm undertones typically have brown eyes. We usually, with our hair color, you can also tell with hair color, tends to be more red. The underlying pigment tends to be more warm, more even like strawberry blonde on the lighter or more fair spectrum. And cool tones, those are going to be your ladies and gentlemen with like blue eye colors. Also warmer undertones typically have hazel eyes. Hazel and amber, I should throw that out there. Cooler traits are like the icier blondes. You've got like the cooler or like the ashy mousy blondes. And for someone who has dark hair, you're gonna look at someone who has kind of like that underlying violet or like blue black dark hair. Natural hair, of course, obviously the undertone is more pink, almost kind of like violet or blue. So that is someone who is cooler in complexion. Olive is unique in itself, and depending on who you ask, but olive has basically both traits of cool and warm, and that's why some people consider it a neutral, because it's a little bit of both. Now those of you guys that have neutral undertones, you're very lucky in that you pretty much have an endless possibility of colors and things that will complement you because you fall somewhere in the middle. Olive, sometimes they tend to read a little bit grayish in undertone, and definitely some of that like yellow, but like almost too yellow to be considered a warm. So that's why some people categorize olive in itself. So I hope that there's way more to undertones. I feel like you can really get in depth, but you really have to kind of research color theory to really understand it. And I want to keep this video as basic and as user-friendly as possible, and I just want to keep it very simple. So how do you find your own undertones? Okay, well, there's a number of different like really easy tests that you can use, and you probably like already know the answers to these questions. You just don't really know. I'm sweating so bad, it's so hot. You probably just didn't know what like those signs or what your preferences pointed to. Typically, I like to say that if you look best in off-whites or like cream colors, ivory colors, then you're more than likely leaning on the warmer side of undertones. So that's like your golden undertone, your yellow undertone, and like your reddish undertone, okay? Whereas I used to hate wearing true white. I thought it just didn't look cute on me. Lately I've been wearing it a lot, I don't know why. But yeah, like I've always kind of shied more towards ivory colors and cream colors. So on the opposite end of the spectrum, someone who's cooler is going to look amazing in true white. Like that's like the easiest, I would say, easiest test that you can find. I also like to do the jewelry test. So typically those that have warmer complexions tend to look better in gold jewelry. So I will more than likely reach for my gold jewelry pieces and earrings before I would silver. Silver, it's not that it looks bad, I just look so much better in gold jewelry. Whereas on the opposite end, someone who is cooler is going to look amazing in those silvery, icy colors, not just in jewelry, but just in hair color and just in general. So another test that you can do to test your own undertones is by looking at the veins in your wrist. Someone like me who has warm undertones, if you look at the underside of my wrist, you're going to see that my veins look green. That's usually like the dead giveaway of someone who's got warm undertones. Versus someone who is cool, you're going to look at the underside of their wrist and it's going to look more blue. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys a different example of someone who might be on the complete opposite spectrum of me. So this is Eva. Hi, Eva.
Hi.
Can you tell us what color your eyes are?
My eyes are green with a little bit of blue.
They're gorgeous. And as you can see, Eva's natural hair color, as you can see, Eva's natural hair color is a blonde, your natural blonde, right? And her color, turn around, Eva. Her hair color can be described as kind of like that ashy tone. I don't know if you can see that in the light. The lightness that you're seeing around her is just from like natural from the sun, right? Mm-hmm. But her hair color is a natural ashy blonde. Eva would be considered someone who has cool tones. So Eva, tell me a little bit about like what your favorite colors are, like what you feel makes your skin tone and your eye color stand out the most.
Pastels are really good for me with my skin tone, and they're bright. I don't know what it is, but it just really helps me to pop. And I like silvers and you know, like a blue, like a coral blue.
Interesting. So yeah, that pretty much offers you guys a different like perspective on how you can approach your skin tone if you're not like, if you don't have dark skin like me. I thought Eva would be helpful to jump in and show you guys a different example of someone who has cool tones. So bye, Eva! Goodbye! Thanks for letting us borrow you! Originally, I had plans of talking about different colors that clash with warm undertones, different colors that clash with cool undertones, and I kind of like was gonna throw those in for a guideline, but I don't know, I really kind of don't want to put barriers. I don't want you guys to think that this puts barriers on what you can and can't wear. I just know that there definitely is a science behind color and it works. Now, obviously, everyone is not going to be black and white like I stated earlier, and these are just supposed to be used as general rules or guidelines because, for example, like I said earlier, I've been wearing a lot of true white lately and my undertones are golden. So yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like these are things that are supposed to be black and white, and it is possible. I want you guys to think of undertones kind of like your hair. Like not every single strand of hair is going to have the exact same pigmentation, the exact same like underlying pigment in it. Like it's almost like a variation in some cases, not always. I guess I will talk about a little bit about like what colors I really like wearing. I typically lean towards, I mentioned off-whites earlier. I love like bright, like just think of like summer colors. I love like bright neon colors. I love different shades of, I actually really like different shades of pale pink also. I love gold. I love anything that's like bright and just makes a statement. Whereas Eva, who we saw earlier, she typically really likes her silvers. She likes pastel colors. I noticed that pastels really on cooler undertones are just like amazing, and then I'll put something on and I'm just not wowed at all sometimes, depending on what it is. And that is very important with makeup, especially like because all of the we're seeing a lot of that pastel lip trend. And when you aren't familiar, it's not even so much about how dark or light you are. When you're not familiar with undertones, I feel like that's where we go wrong with hopping onto trends. So that's definitely something that I think you guys should consider now. I also wanted to make some notes about foundation. Undertones obviously play a huge role on how you're going to choose foundations or how you want your foundation to work for you. Like, for example, someone who is a little on the cooler side might use a foundation that's a little more warmer, that might like warm up the skin, give them more a healthier glow, whereas someone who's really red might want to like tone that down and cancel it out. Or that's just like, that's not an everyday scenario, but that's definitely some possibilities when you are familiar with undertones and how they work, and just when you can use them as a corrective tool, not just as a complementary tool. So that's pretty much like the basics of what I feel needs to be covered with undertones. I really hope that you guys found this video helpful. Let me know if you have any additional questions. I'll try to answer as much as I can, but just try to remember that not every topic that was covered today is going to be like black and white for everyone. So don't feel like you have to run home and like, oh my God, I've been doing the wrong thing. No, like I can't, sometimes it's kind of hard to tell in photographs like what someone's undertones are with like lighting and stuff like that. So there's only so much I can do, but with the resources that I do have and the knowledge that I do have, I'll try to be as helpful as I can. So leave your questions down below. If you like this video, if you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. That way it tells me like if I'm on the right track, if these are the type of topics you guys want to see more of. Like I really hope that help me help you. Like that helps me really gauge the type of content you see here on this channel. And I'm discovering that these like how to like skin secrets and like really like industry different tips like that are really helping you guys. So give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe now, and I will see you guys at the next video. Mwah. Bye. Hi ladies and gentlewomen. Today I'm going to be